Imagine being one of the most powerful leaders in history, constantly facing threats to your life. You might think that Napoleon Bonaparte's rise to power was smooth, filled only with triumphs and celebrations, but the reality was far more dangerous and intriguing. What if I told you that Napoleon survived several assassination attempts that not only threatened his life, but also changed the course of history? Today, you'll uncover the thrilling stories behind these attempts and understand why they matter more than you might think. Let's take you back to 1796, during the Italian campaign, when the first serious attempt on Napoleon's life occurred. Did you know that this early threat came from those who feared his growing power? As Napoleon led his troops to victory, enemies were already plotting against him. This major attempt was orchestrated by royalist factions who felt threatened by the changes he was bringing to France. They saw him as a rising tyrant, and they believed that by removing him, they could restore the old order. Understanding this first attempt is crucial. It reveals how quickly power can attract danger. Napoleon, at this point, was not the emperor we think of today, but a general rising through the ranks. The tension in France was palpable, with political factions at odds and the common people divided. This early assassination attempt set the stage for the challenges he would continue to face throughout his life. Now let's dive into the infamous infernal machine incident in 1800. Have you ever heard about the bomb that was intended to end Napoleon's life? Picture this. A carriage filled with explosives was strategically placed along his route. As Napoleon passed by, the bomb detonated, but miraculously he was unharmed. This event not only demonstrated the lengths his enemies were willing to go to, but also highlighted the chaos in Paris at that time. It's astounding to think about how close he came to losing everything in a matter of seconds. Analyzing this attack reveals that Napoleon's political enemies were growing bolder. Each failed assassination attempt only fueled their desire for revenge, intensifying the atmosphere of intrigue and danger surrounding him. Napoleon's response was swift. He increased his security and vigilance, aware that every public appearance could be his last. In 1804, as he prepared to crown himself emperor, another assassination plot emerged. This time, it was royalists who planned to kill him during the grand ceremony, believing it would be the catalyst for restoring the monarchy. Imagine the stakes at that moment. Napoleon, now at the height of his power, faced threats not just from the shadows, but from those who once supported him. These incidents show that while Napoleon's leadership brought stability to France, it also incited deep divisions within the country. The constant threat of assassination highlighted the tumultuous political landscape, showcasing the risks that come with absolute power. As we unravel these attempts on his life, it becomes clear that they were more than just isolated events. They shaped Napoleon's legacy. Each close call contributed to his growing paranoia and tightened security measures. These experiences influenced his policies, leading him to adopt a more authoritarian style of governance. Surviving assassination attempts molded him into the leader he became, wary and ever vigilant. In conclusion, Napoleon's life was filled with perilous moments that shaped not only his legacy, but also the future of France. Through these assassination attempts, we gain insight into the tumultuous political climate of the time. Next time you think of Napoleon, remember the hidden dangers he faced and how these threats influenced his decisions and actions throughout his reign. The story of Napoleon is not just one of power, it's a thrilling narrative of survival against all odds. What happened during the infamous infernal machine attack in 1800? This was a pivotal moment in Napoleon's life that highlighted not only the threats he faced, but also the chaos of the era. Picture Paris, a city buzzing with political intrigue and unrest. As Napoleon rode through the streets, a bomb was secretly planted in a carriage, intended to obliterate him in a spectacular act of violence. The plan was meticulous, but in a twist of fate, the bomb missed its target and Napoleon emerged unscathed. This incident exemplifies the lengths to which his enemies would go to eliminate him. It wasn't just a random act, it was a calculated strike from those who felt threatened by his rapidly growing power. The fact that such a dangerous plot could occur in broad daylight speaks volumes about the atmosphere of fear and tension that permeated France during this time. Understanding this attack reveals how bolder his political enemies became as they recognized Napoleon's influence and popularity. But the failure of the infernal machine was not just a single event. It marked a turning point in how Napoleon viewed his own safety. After this close call, he recognized that he needed to bolster his security measures. He became more vigilant, realizing that each public appearance was a potential death sentence. This shift in mindset also led him to adopt a more authoritarian governance style, as he aimed to consolidate his power and eliminate any opposition. In this volatile environment, the seeds of fear and paranoia were sown deeply within Napoleon's psyche. You might think a leader at the pinnacle of power would feel invulnerable, but the reality was quite the opposite. Each assassination attempt chipped away at his sense of security, leading to more extreme measures to protect himself. The political landscape was fraught with tension, with enemies lurking in the shadows and discontent simmering among the populace. This backdrop made every day a battle for survival, and Napoleon had to navigate this treacherous terrain carefully. As he maneuvered through the threats, he also had to manage the perceptions of his subjects, ensuring they viewed him as a strong and an unyielding leader rather than a vulnerable target. So, as we delve into these assassination attempts, it's crucial to understand the psychological impact they had on Napoleon and the political climate of the time. These events were not isolated incidents, but rather a series of challenges that shaped his leadership style and the decisions he made for France. The question remains, how many more attempts did he face, and how did each one leave its mark on history? The answers reveal the intricate dance of power, fear, and survival that defined Napoleon Bonaparte's reign. Did you know there was a plot to assassinate Napoleon just as he crowned himself emperor? In 1804, as Napoleon Bonaparte prepared for his grand coronation, royalists saw this moment as the perfect opportunity to strike. They believed that eliminating him during the ceremony would restore the monarchy and end his reign of power. The stakes were incredibly high, and the tension in France was palpable. Yet, amidst this spectacle lay the threat of violence and a plot that could change history. This assassination attempt was discovered just in time, showcasing how precarious Napoleon's position was, even at the height of his power. The royalists' motivations stemmed from deep divisions within France, fueled by resentment towards his regime. This plot reveals not only the intensity of political rivalries, but also the lengths to which individuals would go to oppose a leader they believed was undermining their vision for the nation. The uncovering of this plot had significant implications for Napoleon. It demonstrated that even as he ascended to the pinnacle of power, enemies lurked in the shadows, waiting for a moment of vulnerability. This constant threat contributed to his growing paranoia. As he realized how many people wanted him dead, he tightened his grip on power, increasing security measures around himself. This was not just a leader becoming cautious. It was a transformation driven by the need to survive. Understanding this plot also sheds light on the societal dynamics of the time. France was in turmoil, with revolutionaries and royalists battling for influence. Each assassination attempt, each threat, only intensified the struggle for power. Napoleon's ability to navigate this complex landscape was critical to his survival, but it came at a cost. The weight of these threats shaped his policies, often steering him toward more authoritarian rule. In summary, the plot against Napoleon during his coronation highlights the continuous peril he faced and the impact of such threats on his leadership style. The assassination attempts didn't just threaten his life, they shaped the course of his reign and influenced the future of France. As we analyze these events, it becomes clear that the dance between power and danger is intricate and fraught with tension. Each close call with death not only altered Napoleon's decisions, but also left an indelible mark on history, reminding us that in the world of leadership, safety is never guaranteed. How did surviving these assassination attempts shape Napoleon's rule? The truth is, each attempt contributed significantly to his growing paranoia and the tightening grip of his security measures. Imagine being in his shoes, knowing that enemies lurked around every corner, plotting your demise. This constant threat influenced not only his personal decisions, but also the very governance of France. After each assassination attempt, Napoleon's response was to increase his security. He surrounded himself with loyal guards, established secret police forces, and took more precautions in his daily life. This change is fascinating because it shows how fear can shape a leader's actions. The man who once seemed invincible now moved through his world with a heightened sense of danger, constantly on alert. His fear transformed him from a visionary leader into a more authoritarian ruler, making decisions that prioritized his safety over the ideals of the revolution he once championed. Analyzing these experiences, it becomes clear how close calls with death can alter the course of history. For Napoleon, these events weren't just attempts on his life. They were turning points that redefined his leadership style. They drove him to eliminate potential threats, leading to a government that was less about democracy and more about control. Each decision he made in the wake of these attacks pushed him further away from the revolutionary ideals that initially propelled him to power. This shift is not just a personal story. It reflects broader themes in history. Leaders often become more repressive in the face of existential threats. Napoleon's legacy serves as a powerful reminder of how fear can lead to the erosion of freedoms. His assassination attempts highlight the fragile nature of power and how the stakes of leadership can lead to significant consequences for nations. In summary, the legacy of assassination attempts on Napoleon is profound. They shaped his rule, instilling a sense of paranoia that altered not just his leadership but also the very fabric of French society. Each attempt pushed him toward a more authoritarian governance, showing that the dangers of leadership extend far beyond the individual. Understanding this complex relationship between threat and power is essential to grasping the full scope of Napoleon's impact on history. Remember, the hidden dangers faced by leaders can influence not only their decisions but also the future of entire nations. Now you understand the remarkable journey of Napoleon Bonaparte, a leader whose life was riddled with peril and drama. His story is not just one of power and glory, it is also one of survival against constant threats. The assassination attempts he faced reveal much about the dangerous political landscape of his time. You've learned how these close calls significantly impacted his decisions, pushing him toward a more authoritarian regime. Each assassination attempt serves as a testament to the turbulent world Napoleon navigated. From the early threats during his rise to power to the more sophisticated plots of his later years, these events shaped not only his leadership style but also the course of French history. The tension between maintaining control and the ever-present constant threat of violence is a recurring theme in the narrative of his life. It reflects the broader struggles of any leader facing dissent and opposition. As you think back on these attempts, consider the complexity of power. Most people see leaders as figures of unassailable strength, but Napoleon's experience reminds us that vulnerability is also a part of leadership. The hidden dangers he faced forced him to adapt and evolve, often leading him down a path of increased control and repression. This transformation is not just a story of survival, it's a critical lesson in how fear can shape a leader's legacy. You might think of assassination attempts as merely dramatic footnotes in history, but they hold deeper implications. Each event influenced policies, security measures, and the very fabric of governance in France. They highlight how external threats can mold internal politics, altering the dynamics of power in profound ways. Napoleon's legacy is a rich tapestry woven from both his triumphs and the threats that sought to undermine him. In conclusion, the assassination attempts against Napoleon are more than mere incidents. They are pivotal moments that encapsulate the struggles and complexities of his rule. The next time you think of Napoleon, remember not just his victories but also the lurking dangers that surrounded him. If you enjoyed this epic journey, please subscribe to our channel for more thrilling historical tales. Don't miss out on new videos. Hit the notification bell to stay updated.